These are no ordinary times. People are dying. Businesses are shutting down. And people are not subscribing to my YouTube channel. Hey everyone, I'm Gerald and I'm here to share with you why I think the stock market crash in 2020 hasn't even started yet. So who am I? I'm not a professional investor by any means, but when I was serving the army for 2 years, I basically read investment books daily, so I did learn some principles here and there, and hopefully by sharing what I feel and think, it'll be helpful to you. Again, so that's my disclaimer. And basically, during this crisis, when I look at professionals, most of them, a lot of times they are saying, hey, it's time to buy the dip. It's time to dip in the market and buy. Versus, you know what, ordinary investors like us are investing. Chaos everywhere, panic buying everywhere, shops closing down. So when I think of this, one principle comes to my mind. And that is the principle from Peter Lynch, One Up Wall Street. Basically, he's one of the world's top investors, and he shared that on-the-ground expertise can sometimes be an advantage compared to the professionals. Again, if you want to check out his book, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. I get a small kickback, so thank you for supporting. So just a backstab, like why did this crash even happen in the first place? So the problem with the 2020 coronavirus crash is that it is caused by us or the world having to pull the stock lever on all businesses. Basically, it stops the economy comes to a halt, and we do this because we want to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. And when businesses comes to a halt, consumption drops. People stop buying things or buy as much things, and when that happens, businesses shrink. And when businesses shrink, people working no longer have as much money. Like business owners get poorer, they fire people, people get poorer. So that leads to a drop in consumption, and a drop in consumption leads to more pain, lesser earnings, and that leads to lesser consumption, and it's a vicious cycle. The problem is not just on this simple level, but it creates a domino effect throughout the world. Think of people in the US, they stop buying products from China. Businesses in China no longer have the money to buy more inventory to expand businesses, and in turn they supply less goods to the United States, and you can see why this creates panic and chaos throughout the world. So against this backdrop, professionals are telling us maybe we should start buying some of the stocks in the market because we've never seen prices drop this low for like a decade, and it's this low for a reason, right? So they recommend this to us because the professionals think that this will get better in due time, and I completely agree. I think you'll get better, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. And as long as I don't see it happening anytime soon, I don't buy it. I don't buy the fact that it's time to buy right now. In fact, during this time, I look over to the medical professionals to see what are their thoughts, their opinions, because they are the ones who have the best insights as to when this virus is going to end. Currently, it is estimated that the New York will reach its peak in about 7 days. But what I'm seeing is that there's absolutely no cure, and no one can predict exactly when it would end. I mean, they can make a calculated guess to when it's peaking. They want to flatten the curve. And even Dr. Fauci said he doesn't even know when it would end.
We're hearing here in New York, Andrew says, the governor here says, we're 2 or 3 weeks from seeing the worst crush at the hospitals. I mean, it seems that the timeline is getting extended farther out, not that things are going better than expected anywhere.
Yeah. What you've got to do, Chris, you've got to be realistic, and you've got to understand that you don't make the timeline. The virus makes the timeline. So you've got to respond in what you see happen. Things really under control, and then you pull back, which ultimately we're going to have to do. Everybody in the world is going to have to do that. You're either going to get a rebound, or it might cycle into the next season. So what are we going to do to prepare ourselves for that?
He wants to flatten the curve, and that the model is only as good as the assumptions you put into it. So if you put like poor assumptions, then the model doesn't work. And the funny thing is that when we think about the peak, reaching the peak is nowhere near the end. I mean, and by the end, I mean like everything is under control. So I used to think of the Singapore context where we actually identified every single cluster, I think, and contain everyone that is high risk or potentially affected. I think that is when we really have it under control. Reaching the peak, like in the United States, in 1 week, is nowhere near having it under control. We're still unpredictably long from having it under control. So, and not to mention what I'm seeing right now is a lot of complacency, like of the people. Like people are getting complacent, thinking that, hey, it's fine. We can live life as per normal. And the U.S. Navy ship docked in New York, and there you have it, crowds of people. So that's why I'm thinking, I really don't see it ending anytime soon. And if it's not controlled, you need to picture this. The moment we reopen the economy, the floodgates open up again, and that's what's happening to Singapore right now. We allow travel, and people are coming back from affected countries, and now we are having a case where we are almost or on the brink of not being able to contain the virus. Yeah, basically it's like segmenting different parts of the swimming pool to stop people from peeing. The moment you open the floodgates, the pee come over, you can't stop it until I see the end of the tunnel. It is my opinion that I think everything is speculative. I mean, you can make a very smart and calculated speculation, but it is still a speculation. So we need to be very clear of the differences. And one of the father of value investing, Benjamin Graham, he said in his security analysis book, an investment operation is one which, upon thorough analysis, promises the safety of capital and a satisfactory return. Anything not meeting this requirement, speculation. And how can you promise, or how can any business promise any sort of stability in their revenue, their earnings during these times of the crisis? In fact, maybe some businesses can, like for example grocery shops, but actually can they really, when their supply chains are being disrupted? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. And because of that, I see everything in the market now being extremely speculative. And with that, I hope that investors out there, people like you guys, can be very, very careful and diligent in what you're investing in right now. So be very careful, because it is my opinion that this will not end anytime soon. So things are going to get a lot worse. In fact, businesses are getting crushed, and it's only going to get significantly worse when the outbreak happens in the lesser developed countries in Asia, like India, Laos, Cambodia, places that have inadequate testing kits, medical facilities. When this outbreak, spikes.
A sea of people amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Hundreds and thousands of migrants desperate to reach their homes in rural India.
I really don't think you can open up the economy and live life as per normal. It's going to be extremely hard, because people from Cambodia can travel to Singapore, and if Singapore is contained and they then travel to the US, that happened. So that can happen, and that would cause a whole cycle of trouble again. Wave 2, wave 3, some people call it. So in fact, my badminton business, it has lost over 99% of its revenue, and there's absolutely no certainty that people will return after the crash or the crisis is over. And so can you imagine people that are thinking of buying the airlines company, the cruise company? Hey, it's time to buy the Singapore Airlines, Delta Airlines. Like even Warren Buffett, the world's best investor, sold his chunk of airline stocks. And Warren Buffett's philosophy is to buy and hold companies forever, and he's selling. So that means something. I'm not sure what it is. It could mean he don't see the future of these businesses being good anytime soon, or an opportunity to buy it or buy other businesses better at a better price, right? So nonetheless, I truly hope things will get better. And the last thing I want is for you guys to lose money. Again, I'm not a professional. I'm just sharing my opinions and thoughts on the whole situation that's happening right now. And if you have any thoughts on the market, leave them down in the comment section below. I'm sure everyone wants to listen and hear what are your thoughts and opinions, because we want to get more information so that we can make good decisions. And I hope to catch you around soon. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone. Peace.